The end of the Middle Ages and the beginning of early modern times is a period of serious economical changes in Europe. The bourgeoisie in the towns grew up and gained wealth. The development of towns was a reason for the accumulation of material production. This process was related to the European expansion and colonization of new territories. The natural resources from the colonies influxed Europe. The advancement of navigation, technological progress and new colonies were the main reasons for the increasing sea trade between the continents. Some European towns were transformed into huge trade centers, Amsterdam, some English and French towns and other settlements near the Atlantic coast.
The creation of the factories in West and Central Europe resulted in larger production. It meant the Europeans needed more markets, in Asia, Africa and South and North America. The development of the factories and sea trade was related to the need of money. This provoked the spread of banks around Western Europe. Slave trade. The need of cheap work labor and the lack of resistance among the African tribes against the white colonizers was the reason for the activization of the slave trade. People from Africa were taken in slavery. Slave trade enriched a great number of European merchants. Slavery was practiced mainly in America, not in Europe. At that time, 16th to 18th century, the idea of capitalism was conceived. This philosophy was related to the possession of the means of production, factories, machines, markets, ships and others. The main point was that the owner of the means of production was able to create products, sell the production and earn money. In this way, the financial profit of selling the production was reinvested in a new process of production or trade. In contrast to the medieval times, when all the profits were spent on non-productive actions like luxury items, hunting, everyday expenses, castles, waging wars and others, everything was turned into increasing the profitability of each production cycle. Protectionism was an economic policy whose aim was to defend the local production and trade. According to protectionism, the import had to be restricted by the state government, using different tariffs and quotas. The restriction of the foreign products meant an opportunity for the local products to gain popularity. This policy was used by the European governments from the 16th to 20th century. According to mercantilism, the state pursued a policy of accumulation of huge amounts of precious metals, gold and silver, thus strengthening the state's finances. The other aim of mercantilism was to support the sale of the production created in the state to other countries, which meant an increase in money for the selling country. The owners of factories took raw materials from the colonies at a low price, produced various goods and sold them to other countries at a higher price. Industrial Revolution. This is a process of replacing the manual labor of the artisans with the use of machines in factories. This change, the spread of machines, led to augmentation of the production, especially after the invention of the steam engine in the 18th century. The Industrial Revolution began in England, later it spread in other Western countries. The main reasons for the Industrial Revolution were, the independent English society, the aristocracy and bourgeoisie had enough and equal possibilities to work and create production. The state supported them as well, cheap raw materials and natural resources from the colonies as well as cheap work labor. Do not forget the civil education,